In the ongoing theist-non-theist debate here on YouTube, the argument concerning the burden of proof has been bandied about quite often. Non-theists insist that it is the responsibility of the one who makes the positive claim to prove their claim true. Meanwhile, the popular theist response to this is, it is up to the non-believer or atheist to prove the claim is false. In this video, I will discuss my point of view on positions of non-belief, who I believe shoulders the burden of proof, and why. I'll start with explaining two positions regarding the non-belief in deities. The so-called strong atheist position is one who believes or asserts that a god or gods do not exist. The weak atheist, or what I like to simply call the atheist position, is one who, having seen no credible evidence to support any claims for a god or gods, is unconvinced that any god or gods exist, meaning they do not assert that a god or gods do not exist, and they see no reason to believe any gods do exist. Many theists will argue that the weak atheist is actually agnostic, not atheist. I'm not going to concern myself with this argument in the scope of this video. Of these two positions, it is a strong atheist who is making a claim in regards to the non-existence of a deity, and as such I think it's reasonable that they have a burden of proof to support their claim. In my opinion, the claim that God does not exist is equal in its dependence on faith as the claim God exists. However, the weak atheist is not making a claim regarding the existence or non-existence of a god or gods. They remain unconvinced and reserve judgment pending evidence. Since they make no claim, there is nothing for them to carry the burden of proof about. There are many people, both theists and non-theists alike, who would argue that it is not important to establish the burden of proof, nor is it important to prove or disprove the existence of a deity. It is from these people you might hear something similar to, just let people believe what they want to believe. They're not hurting anyone. I, for one, believe the burden of proof for the existence of a deity is important, and while I can let some people believe what they want to believe, there are some other people who I strongly believe must prove their claims. The theists who keep their theistic beliefs to themselves and do not try to force their beliefs upon others are not a concern for me. They are free to believe what they want, and I couldn't care one whit if they can substantiate their beliefs in a deity or not. The theists I am concerned about are those who try to push their beliefs upon others, or worse, try to, through organizations and/or religions, influence or pressure government legislature to reflect their theist beliefs. These are the theists whom I must insist carry the burden of proof. I have not seen any credible evidence to support the claim that any deities exist, and as such I see no reason to live my life as though some deity does exist. For those who would lean on Pascal's wager and ask me, what if you're wrong? My response is simple. If I am wrong and a deity does exist, it has not made available to me any means of determining which deity it is, and leaves me with no means of determining how to conduct my life according to the tenets of that deity. So theists, if you are going to advance the idea that God is real, and we all must live our lives accordingly, and to the point where you insist government enforces the ideals and tenets of such a deity, you must first prove your God exists. Likewise, if you are going to advance the idea that God is the answer to fill in any gap that science has not yet discovered a natural answer for, and if you are going to expect me to accept and respect your answer, I must know what God is, if God actually exists, and if God actually did what you assert your God to have done. To illustrate, let's take a look at the question, how did life begin on Earth? There are three things or criteria that must be met before you can proclaim God as the answer to this question. Number 1, you must define God. The definition must be clear and complete. It must be easy to understand and not present additional mysteries nor harbor any further unidentified properties or attributes. It must not be subject to interpretation, so anyone who reads the definition would arrive at the exact same interpretation as anyone else. The definition must remain constant and unchanging. Should a future discovery regarding the beginnings of life be scientifically proven, you cannot add something new to your definition of God to account for it. If your God is real, then there would be no reason why you can't make a wholly complete definition for God. Your definition of God should not need future adjustments to adapt or account for future scientific developments or discoveries. Number 2. You must prove the God which you have defined exists. If you're going to provide something as an answer to how life began on Earth, then that something must exist, or had existed, and its existence must be supported with proof and evidence that can be scientifically verified. Number 3. You must prove that God you defined created life on Earth. If you actually do prove the existence of God, that existence alone does not prove God created life on Earth. You will need to prove God created life, and that proof must be scientifically verifiable. Of course, doctrines from various books of faith such as the Holy Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tanakh, and etc. are not accepted as scientific verification because the proof must be verified through the scientific method. You must meet all 3 of these criteria. If you can't, then I have absolutely no reason to accept God as the answer to how life started on Earth, nor should I accept God as an answer for any other question theists want to challenge non-theists with. So in closing, the burden of proof, as far as I'm concerned, is with the theist who asserts God exists and additionally insists that we all must live our lives under that belief. If you cannot prove your claim for God, then I have no reason to believe. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to rate and comment, and maybe consider subscribing.